Our topic today is the Apollo 11 mission being faked. This is important because it is possibly one of the biggest world hoaxes. Is everything we thought even real? Will we ever be able to get out of this simulation? Our speaker today is an avid consumer of conspiracy theories. He has also had 0 deaths in his life. Please welcome Xander.
So about a month ago, I watched 2001: A Space Odyssey for the first time. I was at my friend's house at UC with my friends Crew and Andre, and we dragged through the entire 3.5-hour movie and decided to go to bed after that. But the next morning, I woke up and I thought about the movie, and it confirmed the theory for me that Stanley Kubrick faked the Apollo 11 moon landing. The space scenes and how well he's able to make the details look, especially for a movie that was made a year before the moon landing, is incredible. So what if the most important moment in United States history, and possibly even the world, was faked? What if Stanley Kubrick left us clues through his movies to show us that he was involved with the misleading of the American people? Would you like to know more about this?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying we've never been to the moon, or space is fake and we're on a disc flying around and the sky is a projection with the moon being a cheese ball. But there are some conspiracy theories about sensitive topics, and I don't believe them, and I don't think that they should be believed. So today I'm going to give you my theory on the Apollo 11 moon landing. I'm going to demonstrate 3 points on how and why Stanley Kubrick collaborated with the United States government to fake the Apollo 11 moon landing. So we'll start off with Kubrick's involvement and clues that he has left us. Through his movie 2001: A Space Odyssey and The Shining, I believe that he has shown his ability as well as his involvement in the moon landing. So in 2001: A Space Odyssey, he's able to create these incredible scenes where the shadows, like I said, he mastered the shadows, making it look like the sun was actually shining from one point. But in 2001, there's a scene which eerily reflects the Apollo 11 moon landing, where they both turn at a similar rate, and you can see that they are both kind of using the same mechanical lighting. So, according to George Demet of 2001 Archive, an archive on 2001: A Space Odyssey, he says that while early science fiction films aimed for a streamlined, futuristic look, 2001's production was intended to be as technically credible as possible. And I think that by doing that, he made this look incredibly real. So, in his other legendary movie, The Shining, Kubrick shows a not so subtle reflection of the Apollo 11 moon landing. The boy, when he first encounters the so-called haunted room 237, he is wearing a Apollo 11 sweater. Now, the room 237 is very significant, as in the book that the movie is based on, as well as in the hotel, it was originally room 217. But 237, according to Kubrick, in an interview with Michelle Clement, Kubrick said that the reason they changed the room from 217 to 237 was for the hotel, as to not frighten future guests. Now, the movie was an instant hit, and I'm sure that there's a large majority of people that would love to stay in the so-called Shining room and pay extra money for that, and I know that my stepmom would love to do that as well, so speaking from experience. So I think that this isn't quite a good reason for changing the room number. Now, 237 is very significant because the Earth, on average, is 237,000 miles away from the moon. I think that's very compelling myself. So why would the United States government do this? Well, during this time, they were involved with the Cold War, with the USSR, and during the Cold War, both of them really badly wanted this moral victory, and they clashed passively through things like the space race. And it was very well documented that both countries wanted to get to the moon first, and like I said right there, it's documented. And once the United States won, it was world news, and they made history. And they got the moral boost that they were looking for. So it is my belief that the United States government falsified the footage of the moon landing, while actually the Apollo 11 mission happened, as they were not able to get television signal back from the moon at that time, or they probably could, but they didn't know for sure, and they had to prove to the United States and the world that they were actually there. So we all want to believe the government, but not everything they do is truthful, and especially in this era between 1960 and 1970, the United States government was very deceitful. Now, we all know Watergate has become sort of a euphemism for controversy and conspiracy in today's world, as in like Deflategate and the more recent Pizzagate. But in the case of Watergate, Nixon was dead set on winning, even though he was projected to win re-election in the upcoming year. So he sent spies to Watergate and denied any involvement even after he was resigning from presidency. And I think this just shows how badly Nixon was able to want to cheat, as well as he was the president in office during the Apollo 11 mission. So the Pentagon Papers came out at the end of the Vietnam War. These papers showed very much the deceitfulness that the United States government had. In an article about the Pentagon Papers on History.com, created by their editors, they say that the Kennedy administration had actively helped overthrow and assassinate the South Vietnamese president in 1963, as well as Lyndon Baines Johnson and overinflating the Vietnam conflict, as they called it, to get more troops and more money sent to Vietnam. Now, this was all in their fight against communism and the USSR. So when I first heard this theory, I was laying in bed watching YouTube on my computer, and usually it's all just stuff I subscribe to that I watch, but that night I fell into, I call YouTube's deepest rabbit hole, being conspiracy theories. And I watched stuff about flat Earth and how the government is controlling you through contrails and stuff like that. But then I came across this theory on Kubrick, and it was very intriguing to me because it was not like all these other ones where it's like, oh, well, the government starts sending planes over top of our head and now we all start getting angry at each other. Prince actually said that. You can look up the video. It's very interesting. But I believe that this was very interesting, and after watching these movies now, I'm fully committed to the theory that Stanley Kubrick faked the Apollo 11 moon landing. So I believe I have given us reasons to consider my theory, and I believe I've given us all the real truth, and I want us all to continue to want to believe.